I told you I had power rankings for the two teams that I thought would come out of the Western Conference. And a lot of this came like on the drive home last night because there were just the extensive conversations about the Lakers and the Clippers. And I used to think a certain way about the Clippers that I don't really think I feel anymore. The fear of the Lakers is all just perceptive. Like it's not.
You think so, though?
Huh?
You think it's all talk? I mean, I don't agree with these people that say they're going to win the West, but I can see them winning the West.
Sure, I can. To be clear, I can see virtually any team that's going to make the play-in winning the West. I think a lot would have to go right for a team like Minnesota or New Orleans to do it. But really, when you get into the top six, and we'll throw the Lakers into, I guess, say the top seven, I could absolutely see it. But when you look at,
I can't see Memphis.
So that and that's what I kept getting stuck on, right? Because I went back to Kenny Caraway Epiphany that a lot of people laughed at the moment, and then led their podcast and their radio shows and the talk shows with it when we talked about the team winning the going to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's revisit that because we're here now. Like we're here, and I went through these teams, and like Oklahoma City, love what they done. I guess that would be a surprise. But I really, talking about the top seven, I think the Lakers still have plenty of flaws. And I think one of them is the fact you talk about scheduling conflicts. I get this was a back-to-back. You're about to play a bunch of games in a short period of time against the same team who's going to be able to adjust to what you're doing. And I think that's going to bite them at some point. And I kept going back to the same two, three teams over and over and over again. And I was trying to figure out how to rank them. And I was trying to figure out who could I really see coming out of this conference. And part of this is my own inability to shake something I saw. The Kings are second to me.
Let's go.
I don't think that's an outrageous take either. I've been very consistent with Denver all year. I do not like them. I don't like them in this conference. I think the Kings match up well against them. And I think several other teams in the league, several other teams in the conference match up very, very well against them. I think in the right series, Denver's a 4 or 5 game out. Not in the first round. I'm talking about if you get into a series, a semifinal Western Conference final, they could be out in quick order if it's the wrong matchup for them. I have Phoenix at third.
Whoa.
And it's my inability to shake what happened to them last year. And I have the Warriors at 1. I can't shake this feeling that I could see the Warriors just doing this all over again. Do you think the Warriors were the best team in the Western Conference last year?
No,
I don't either.
I think Phoenix was.
I think that's what I'm stuck on.
Yeah.
And maybe the more realistic line of thinking should be that isn't going to happen again. But I told you I couldn't get over my inability to get over what happened to Phoenix last year and what Golden State did with virtually the same exact roster last season. And I look at Kevin Durant as a dynamic unlike virtually any other player in the entire league. I have Phoenix just like right there at 3, just because I've seen them melt down. And what if something happens to Chris Paul? Is Kevin Durant enough to make up for Chris Paul? How does that? And I'm sorry to do that to Chris Paul, but we've seen it. Like we know that's a possibility. The Clippers have kind of got washed out because I think there's starting to be a fear that maybe Paul George won't be back anytime soon, if at all. I think that changes the dynamic of that team. I think we saw Anthony Davis, though. I think Anthony Davis was popping off at the mouth a little bit. I do think teams are going to look to try to take advantage of Russell Westbrook and force him to make bad decisions when he's out there on the floor. And without Paul George, he's going to have to be some semblance of a scorer.
Yeah.
He can't be a pure distributor. Like, he's going to have to score points if Paul George isn't around, which I think he can do, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But again, matchups, I think there are certain matchups that would be tough for the Clippers. And I do think Sacramento was one of those. When I weigh, you talked about Memphis a minute ago. Man, when I weigh the weaknesses of every team, Memphis has weaknesses. All of the play-in teams have weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what Phoenix's weakness is yet. Golden State, obviously, on the their defensive inability on the road, and then Sacramento's defensive inability. Period.
Yeah.
Well, what did they do right? To me, Sacramento's scoring is right up there with some of what you could, when you talk about some of the best things in the Western Conference, Sacramento scoring is at the top of it, or near the top of it. And that's why I have them slotted above Phoenix, slightly above Phoenix. And I know you don't agree with this. I know Jesse doesn't agree with this, but I'm still frightened by the Golden State Warriors.
It's not outrageous. It's
and I don't think any scenario of ranking these 7 teams is outrageous because every single one of them has flaws.
Yeah.
But as the main crux behind all of this is, and maybe I need a therapist. I can't get over what happened last year. I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And Phoenix, I saw it for reasons that have never ever been explained. I saw it.
Yeah.
Golden State, you just said they weren't the best team in the conference last year. I saw it. And it's the same roster. It's the same guys. We talked about, I know I mentioned this earlier in the year, I think post All-Star break. Now, I could say it again. Kyle talks a lot about the vibes. And that may be part of the reason they can't defend on the road. I think James brings that up too. He doesn't use the word vibes. He says it in a different way. Got 16 wins ahead of us. And then we don't have to look at each other ever again. Let's get through this. Let's win a championship. And whatever happens with this team, happens with this team. But we know what we're capable of. We see it. The numbers are there when we're at the Chase Center. Let's play 16 games. Let's win a championship. And then we never have to see each other again.
My argument against that is I just don't think they're good enough.
Why?
Because the Andrew Wiggins that carried them defensively, I find it hard to believe he's just going to step on the floor and change their entire fortunes. He hadn't played in 3 months, and he's just going to step on the floor.
Does he have to change their entire fortunes?
Yeah, because as it is, they're not good enough. Like, they're just not good enough to go through what, like, their path would be. I'm gonna just, for argument's sake, would be Kings, Lakers. I think the Lakers as a 7 would beat Memphis.
Okay.
Phoenix. I don't think they're getting past all 3 of them teams. I don't think they're good enough this year to get past all three of those teams.
Obviously, I don't want them to get past the Kings. I could see them beating the Lakers. The Phoenix one,
I think the Lakers would beat them up.
Really?
In the paint. With AD there.
Really?
I think they'd give them a lot of problems.
Okay.
LeBron would be on the boards. I don't think they'd be able to. I think the Lakers would beat them.
Okay.
I think now on the flip side, the flip side, as always, I think they beat Memphis.
I wonder how many people have no idea. I wonder if like people think like flip side is your
friend. We're trying to find
a
way to bring it back next year.
Well, that's not.
Love flip side.
Oh, I know everybody did.
I loved it.
But then like it mysteriously disappear a week.
It wasn't mysterious. It was
where
I got it from. They were hating on me.
Audio wasn't available after they got beat 37-3, which I don't think that score ever happened. But I'll say some in the chatty house were calling foul on some of those missed flip sides.
I think I know what happened too.
Did they change the password on you?
No.
Did you get left on red like I did?
When I got out of my old car, I changed my subscription. And I think the subscription I had gave me everything.
Got you.
And when I changed it, it doesn't give me everything.
Got you.
I kind of figured that out a little later. I was like,
Okay.
I think that's what happened.
I got you.
But I can see it. I can see the Warriors.
Where would you, not to put you on the spot, if you were to rank 3 West teams to come out of the Western Conference, number 1 being the team you think has the best chance to come out, who do you think it would be? Or who would your 1, 2, 3 be?
My 1 would be Phoenix.
Phoenix, okay.
My 2, this is not a homer.
No, I got you. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then my 3, now I also say this, my 2 changed because if Paul George was there, I'd say it was the Clippers.
I got you. Yep.
So with him out there, I've taken that out. And I mean, I got to be consistent here with what I just laid out. I think the Lakers will be 3rd.
Wow.
I think the Lakers are better than the Warriors.
What do you have a thought on this? And so I saw you shaking your head. I'm way off on the Warriors.
So with the Warriors last year, I don't think you compare them last year to this year. Last year, they were actually good. Steph got hurt coming up to the playoffs and stuff like that. And that was kind of like the questions about him. But once he came back, they were back to normal. The Warriors, my thing is when a team tells you who they are, believe them. They've been inconsistent all year. And I don't think you can put it all together right when playoff time comes and then do it. Like I said, I've been saying it all year. They just said the same thing about Brooklyn last year. Oh, you don't want to see Brooklyn. It doesn't work that way. You need some form of consistency coming into it. So I don't buy the Warriors.
Isn't that kind of the Lakers too?
I don't buy the Lakers either. The Lakers, any series they win is an upset to me. And I think with the Warriors, you need Andrew Wiggins to be your second best player. That has to happen. Last year in the finals, it wasn't. It was Draymond, Clay. They got the pictures and stuff. It was Looney and Wiggins who helped.
And Steph. He just can't be because of the absence. He just can't be the second best player.
It's far-fetched. He's just coming back right now. For me, my number 1 to come out the West would be the winner. If it's Clippers versus Suns in the first round, whoever wins that series is my favorite to get out the West.
Oh, okay.
Then I'd go Kings, and then give me the Nuggets at 3 still.
Okay. Oh, man, Jesse, the only one who didn't crap on the Nuggets.
The Nuggets are 3, but like I said, I can see their weaknesses too.
Yeah, you know what?
Everyone has weaknesses.
I could put the Nuggets at 3 for me. I see what the Nuggets could be a little bit more than maybe you do.
No.
And you're not saying they're trash, but
no,
I don't think you believe they can get to the finals.
I don't think the Nuggets match up.
The Nuggets will be looking at
am I bugging? Does Sacramento not match up great against Denver? Is that my imagination?
They match up pretty good.
I feel like they do.
And then somebody said, didn't Jamal Murray get hurt the other day?
Oh,
He left that Rockets game.
I missed that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have heard if it was super serious. I don't think that's the case, but I think he did leave that Rockets game the other day with an injury.
Well, they lost by 21.
Yeah. So you talk about matching up Fox, Murray, Jokic, Sabonis. You're at least not getting destroyed in that matchup, even if you think Jokic is better. And then you got Aaron Gordon. I mean, Harrison Barnes can match up with that. Bruce Brown, he's going to be a bit of an issue. Not an issue, but he's going to be somebody that can match up with Herter when from defense. He can play good defense on Herter, but might be a negative on the offensive end, so that's not going to hurt you too much.
Thumb injury for Jamal Murray.
Thumb injury. Okay. Yeah, I think they do kind of match up with them. I think they got a better bench than too. Denver. So, yeah, I think they do. But you look at Denver, we look at some of these paths to an NBA final. Denver would probably face, for lack of sake of argument, let's just say New Orleans. I think they could beat New Orleans. Then they'd match up with Phoenix, probably. And I don't think they beat Phoenix.
Yeah, that's the end.
I don't think they beat Phoenix. Hence why I have Phoenix at number 1.
I feel like so much that Cameron Salerno put out this clip from I don't know if it was Get Up. I don't know what it was. Some ESPN show this morning, and they were talking about the Lakers, and now the Lakers are the scariest team in the West.
Oh, all those noobs.
But it was all if. Okay, since we're doing if, Phoenix is on point. This isn't a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
It like if that's what we're doing, there's probably not much of a conversation here because all of the ifs surround Kevin Durant, and there's not a more dynamic player in the conference than Kevin Durant. There's not a more game-changing player in the conference than Kevin Durant. It's just that's the if. It's same with the Lakers. That's the if I can't wrap my head around. For some reason, I can Golden State, but I can't Phoenix, and I can't. Now, Phoenix could change my mind quick. They could beat somebody. They beat the Clippers in 3. Well, then, okay. All right. Well, let's just buckle up.
Yeah.
Lakers, I'm not sold.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on any of them.
And you know what?
Need to see it.
You know what's interesting? And it's not surprising. It's just interesting. Where everybody got ifs except for the Sacramento Kings. And I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah.
If everybody in the playoffs, because everybody's so sure, the defense is gonna ramp up, you're not gonna score the same way. I'll tell you right now, if they can't stop the Kings from scoring, nobody's beating them. You better hope that the traditional 5 to 6 points off and all this other stuff happens. And you probably, to be honest with you, you're probably going to need to be like 8 or 9 points off from what they do in the regular season.
Yeah. That's the fun if.
Yeah.
Like if the Kings score their average, you lost.
You're not winning.
You lost.
They're willing to
beating them. They're willing to if every team in the conference except the Kings.
They don't ever bring that up.
If the Kings just do what they've done for 80 games, you're losing.
I'm going to tell you right now, clip this, do whatever you need to do. If you
That's a very visual for those watching.
I tell you right now, if you can't stop the Kings from scoring in these playoffs, they're beating everybody. At least in the Western Conference. We'll see what happens in the NBA Finals.
Let's keep the same energy if we're gonna do if.
That's all it is.
Yep.
Well, I got an if for that ass. If you can't stop the Kings from scoring, if they putting up 118 to 120 or something like that, like they've been doing all year in the regular season, Lakers, Suns, Warriors, Nuggets, Memphis, all of y'all going down. All of y'all going down. That's your hope, is that you can stop the Kings somewhat to do whatever you need to do. They can't do it. Ain't nobody beating the Kings. I said it.
That's another thing too. I think Kenny's right. Like a lot of these numbers with the Kings, like they're historic. Like the Kings are actually really good and stuff like that. Everything else has been pretty much narratives. I think the Kings are the only thing where it's like, no, like we've seen it. Like the numbers are there to support it. Like they're gonna surprise.
Yeah, if everyone gets it together, if Andrew Wiggins is back, if LeBron James and this crew, if they're ready and if they can stay healthy, they got an if for everybody.
Everybody.
Except
for the Kings. When it comes to the Kings, they're going to light the beam out of the first round. Come on, Jamal. Come on, Jamal.
It's almost kind of like what's stronger, the narrative or just what the Kings have shown? I think when you're picking.
Right.
And to their defense, they can't speak on what the Kings have shown because they haven't seen it.
No, they don't know what they're talking about.
Which is exactly the impression I got from the TNT crew when Candace Parker blurted out, Jamal, you know that you ain't picking him to come out of. You haven't watched them one single time. No. That's why all you could talk about was Mike Brown and Shaq selling his stake in the team.
That's it.
You literally offered nothing about Domantas Sabonis, who, by the way, got another triple-double last night. 242. Mentioned it for the first time. Got another triple-double last night. They didn't make any mention of that when they clinched the division the other night. They haven't made any mention of what De'Aaron Fox did. Kyrie Irving went nuts in the fourth quarter. You know what 2 players are at the top of the league in terms of fourth quarter points? We saw them both last night.
Facts.
Kyrie's on top now because he had a better fourth quarter. Kyrie's 1, De'Aaron Fox is 2.
Facts. Once again,
the game discrepancy is pretty wild, but Kyrie is number 1 and De'Aaron is number 2.
If the Kings lose in the playoffs and they lose in the first round or whatever, it's not going to be because of those sorry narratives that aren't even true.
Yeah,
it's going to be because whoever they played outplayed them and they beat them. Not going to be because the Kings are scared or inexperienced or anything like that. It's because whoever played them outplayed them and beat them.